How do? I can see the dog going crazy out there because there's a squirrel in the tree and she's not happy about it. Anyway, right, today we're getting on with this. Let's get some frets in it. Got to clean the fret slots out. Normally I like to use a Dremel with a 0.5 bit, but there's got so much Tipex or Copydex, whatever it was, in the slots that if I put a tiny bit through there, it's just going to keep snapping the bits. So we're just going to use the little Hosco jobby and clean them out that way, and just try it really hard not to cut through the binding and fuck it up. Top tip: try really hard not to fuck up. And then we're going to stick some Jescar 55 090, which is their narrow tool stuff. It's 1.4 high by, I think it's 2.3, something like that. Talk amongst yourselves. Yeah, 2.3. So it's like vintagey sort of width, but modern, like jumbo height, which I think would fit the look a lot better, rather than just banging like full fat jumbos in it. And keeping with the hot rod vibe, it's going to be stainless steel. So let's get cracking with that. Right, slots cleaned. I've also gone through and just double checked it's straight, it's radius, all that sort of stuff, because it wasn't under tension when I was spraying it. It's had some work done. Just double check your work. There was a little, not massive, but I just went back through it, hit it quickly with a beam, a little bit of sanding, get it back to being perfect. So now, there's my thing. We've got stainless frets. Not sponsored, but this little doodad from StewMac, the fret tang jaw, whatever the fuck they call it, the super duper fancy one, is great for stainless frets. Yeah, it's spenny, but the old way of having to fuck around doing it and nibbling it out with a pair of cutters and cutting it out and all that sort of stuff is just ball ache. Just if you're going to do a lot of stainless work, buy them. They're worth it. Like, it's job done, and it leaves quite a nice. You still got to do some filing, but it's pretty good. So for those that don't know, with a bound guitar, there you go, you have to do this little notch in it so it sits over the binding. You want to just make sure you're nipping inside it, you're not going too deep or anything too far into the fret tang. Otherwise you end up with the tang sitting back here somewhere, and that's not what you want. You want it as close to the edge as you can possibly get it. If it's too wide, what you'll end up doing is when you press it in, you'll deform the binding, and you'll end up like a little whoop that you end up having to sand out and all that sort of stuff, which you don't want to do, because then it's going to look a bit shit as well. So pay attention to what you're doing there. You can buy loads of little fancy jigs and bits and pieces, and you can 3D print bits for Dremels. I think I've got one somewhere, I've just never actually used it yet, that you can feed the fret into when it takes it off. A couple of cuts of that and a few passes with a file. I've just got a little notch filed into my block where the fret sits, so it holds it securely enough. A few passes and just take that down. Again, pay attention to what you're doing, don't go too low so you end up cutting into the bottom of the fret. If you do that, throw it away, get a new one, because when you put it in, the string will catch underneath it. Like there'll be a, like it won't sit down nicely. Yeah, job done. You don't need to watch me do another 20 something, because that's going to be really dull. How I work it is I glue each one of my frets, so I put a bit of bead there, easy for me to say, bead of glue through there, press it in using the fret press, then I've prepped the next one. By the time I've prepped that, the glue's cured. Repeat until finished. So I'll stick you in a time lapse and we can do that. If you've got any questions, just leave them in the comments below and I'll answer them. But it's fairly simple to do. Done. Look it. Oh, shiny. Get a good bit in the light. There we go. Got some wax on the board as well. That's looking really cool. That's got some, like, surprisingly some flame in it, which is pretty cool. But I'm happy with that. The necks continue to age and check and like chip out down the edges and stuff like that, which I'm not mad at. Not mad at it. I quite like it. It's looking cool. I'm happy. So we've got stainless frets. All the ends are nice. They're crisp. Slicker than my hair in the 90s. Luckily, no one's ever going to see a photo of that. Done. Put a nut in it as well. So unbleached bone nut, all custom made for that. I did do a little bit of repairs down the side because the binding shrunk back just ever so slightly. So that Stu Mac sell those little nut repair powders. So I've just put a bit of the cream one down the side, bit of CA glue because it notches in where the binding shrunk back. So I've just filled that out. I might just touch a tiny bit of colour on it. We'll see what happens. That's done. Thanks for watching. Hopefully it wasn't too dull. I think it's just going to be a lot of time-lapse stuff rather than being like, this is how you do a refret. There's enough of them on the internet. top tip, I guess. If you're doing a stainless refret, that's a dog huffing in the background, you don't need to overbend the wire. If you're doing nickel, you want it to be overbent ever so slightly. So it sort of beds itself in. With stainless, because it's got way more flex in it, you don't want to overbend it, because then when you hammer it or press it, it just flicks back. It's got a memory to it. So you kind of want it bang on the radius you're using, in my humble opinion. Makes your life way easier. And if you're doing little notches to go over binding, tiny wee little dab of glue on those, just help them sit down and seat and stay where they're supposed to. But yeah, job done. Just waiting on the pickups to arrive for it. Sean said he wasn't happy with one of them, so he's remade it, which is good. You want that, don't you? You want that attention to detail from a guy. And Sean is that guy. If you haven't already, go and follow Old Bones Pickups. Super nice dude. Makes some really cool pickups as well. He's modern PAF, so they're really fucking good. Or if you want anything custom made, he'll do it for you. Yep, so waiting for them to turn up. I think that's nearly it then, isn't it? Just got to put it together. Still got to work out how to wire it. I came up with a really clever idea and no fucking idea how you do it. So, kept saying future me would worry about that. It's getting to the point where current me needs to worry about it. Fuck. Right. Toodles.